One, two, three, four.
And welcome back to another episode of Breakfast
again
with
for coming out.
Brothers. Sorry.
It like lagged a touch in between your entry from the ooh, your little build up there. But here we are again, back at it again with the white vans. Anyway, thanks for coming back out. Closing in on 50 episodes very quickly here, and we're bringing a guest on again soon, so I hope you guys are staying tuned for that. And lots to come eventually here. There will be new topics, new lovely discussions to be had, maybe some lovely little sidebar arguments. Who knows? You'll have to come and find out what's up. But here we are today. Tell the people what we're going on about today, buddy.
We are talking about pet peeves. Pet peeves. Everyone give it up for pet peeves. Yeah.
Everyone has
peeves.
one, or two, or maybe a dozen. It's okay if you do. Not a big deal. But
And if
we're
you
here to
don't,
talk
you're
about
lying.
ours, so listen in.
All right,
Hit him with
who's going
your first worst pet peeve. Hit him with that, because I'm thinking, for me, I only have a few that are like really bad, but sometimes it's dependent, like on a situation. But I want to hear what your bigger ones are. Let's hear it.
Some of my bigger ones. Damn. I got a few in the bag here. I'm trying to think of like a nice big pet peeve that I have. Probably I'll just start with one that comes to mind right off the bat. It might not be my biggest one, but it definitely is one. And I'm sure I'll think of some others as we continue on. But it definitely has to be like nails on a chalkboard, of that variety. So like, it could also be like cutlery, like on a plate.
Ooh.
Like if someone's doing it too much, like a little bit's fine. That's bound to happen. But like some guy doesn't know how to use a knife, yeah, or like a fork for that matter. Doesn't know how to like eat. Any type of that like high pitched scratching sound, that is definitely a major pet peeve of mine. It's not something that happens very frequently, but it's definitely something that does happen, and it annoys the crap out of me.
Yeah, I can get behind the nails on the chalkboard effect. For me, it doesn't affect me as much, like when it's actually happening. I know for Meg, she really gets affected by it. Like it's like a ear piercing almost. It's
Mm-hmm.
just one of those things where it's like a ringing, and it's just like you said. It's super annoying when it happens, and for people that aren't aware that they're doing it, it comes off even worse. It's just like, ooh, you wanna crumble up into a little ball. And, it's awful. I feel you.
Yeah, maybe it's not like a pet peeve, but it's definitely just like it just hurts.
Yeah, maybe a cringy feeling. I mean, it could be a pet peeve too, because enough people do it, especially when they're trying to cut up something on a plate at a restaurant, or you're having dinner at the dinner table, and with like your 3.5-year-old nephew who doesn't really know how to use like a fork yet and stuff like that. It's always, again, like when I said earlier, like situational pet peeve stuff. Sometimes it just doesn't affect me as much, and other times it just is one of those moments where it's just like, ooh. Um, but I'll have to think of like a specific scenario where that comes into play. But for me, like a bigger pet peeve, I would say, is being that I'm an organized person. It's like if someone borrows something of mine, and it's usually like things that have a place, things that belong somewhere. If they take it, borrow it, whatever, use it, but then they don't put it back where it belongs. So if I go to use it again, then I'm just like, oh, where's item XYZ? And then I'm just lost without it because I wouldn't know where to look, because I'm the person that would normally put it right back in that spot. So it's just like, ah, mini panic attack setting in.
Yeah, that's definitely a pet peeve of mine. Thankfully, I don't have a lot of people borrowing my stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I know when I'm using something that isn't mine, it's like I always ask the person, "All right, where would you like me to put this?" And you most times they'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'll take that and I'll put it back,"
Yeah.
or like,
Right.
"Oh, you can put this over there," and I try to like hit general vicinity, where they told me. Um, but yeah, that definitely bothers the hell out of me too. If someone does say like, "Hey, I'm gonna grab this from your room," and I said, "Okay, just put it back when you're done." Okay, and then they never put it back.
Never. Sometimes they'll even take something and forget about giving it back to you. Usually
Yep.
that doesn't like really bother me. The stuff that I give away, like for example, if it's like someone had stayed over and they needed a t-shirt to like wake up and put on the next day or something like that, like a clean t-shirt or a pair of socks, something like that. That doesn't really bother me. It's stuff that like if it's something that I'm not normally letting people borrow. Like this one time, for example, I was up at school and had let someone borrow my little Wonder Boom speaker, like the half size UE boom, whatever.
Yeah.
And they had borrowed it, and then they were like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna use it for 3-4 hours," and that they had used it for a couple of days, brought it back like 3-4 days later. I'm like, "All right, well, good news is you're never borrowing this again." And it was just like, you told me you were using it for a couple hours, that ended up turning into a couple days. Like that's not gonna fly. So stuff like that. I'm obviously a little more hesitant about letting out to lease or borrow to people now, especially.
Right.
But it comes down to being person dependent. And I guess that is a little bit of a touch on situational dependency about where you can be borderline pet peeve and then, instead lean the other way or something like that.
Yeah. No, and we don't need to beat the dead horse here, but
No, I
it's
feel
like in that case, it's like, okay, just like shoot me a text, say like, hey, do you mind if I hold on to it just for a little bit longer, or
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
some just like a heads up, because majority of the time I'm gonna say, yeah, you know what, that's all right, I'll let you, hold on to it for a little bit. If you want it for the day, cool. Just let me know if how long you're holding on to it, and I'm gonna reach out to you if I need it. Like, I'm gonna let you know that, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
100%.
expect it back when I ask for it. Um, but I got a good pet peeve right now, so let's push on through. Um,
Perfect.
my, my like one of my biggest ones, and this is case dependent, of course, too, but a majority of the time, um, people who are mean to fast food workers, or just any workers in general, wherever you go to like any type of store, um, outlet, shop, whatever it is, um, just that are just blatantly rude because they need something then and now. Um, or
They
in the
feel
case of like,
entitled. Yes, yeah.
yes, it's just like, and I say it's case dependent because sometimes the worker is nasty. I'm not gonna deal it back to them in such a way, but I'm gonna be a little like kind of I'm
It's
gonna give it back to
off-putting
them
for
in a
sure.
different manner. Yeah. But that's like I said, case dependent. There are some like nasty fast food workers that I've encountered. A lot of like there's been some people in like supermarkets that I've experienced that are kind of nasty, so on and so forth. You get the idea. But people who are like blatantly rude to workers that are just trying to like do their job,
Yes,
and it's like
100%.
it's like I have a feeling for them in the sense of like, like I know this job sucks, but you need to work it. Or it's like, this is your first job. Like, I'm not going to give you a hard time. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you mess something up, be like, hey, man, you forgot this. Or, hey, like, I don't mean to cause stress, but whatever. Um, I'm going to be as polite as I need to be for them to make their lives easier because then they're going to make
Right,
my life easier.
right. No, and that's totally fair, because those same people that are usually working there are not interested in being there a lot of the time. And if they are, they're in a good mood. That's great. It usually works out because, especially me when I go into a fast food joint or if I'm being waited on in like a restaurant or something like that, I'm always about my P's and Q's. I mind my manners, things like that. Please, thank you. hold the door open for people when you're leaving, when you're exiting, when you're entering, whatever. Um, and also another big thing, like just because you're being happy and polite, doesn't mean that you have to ensure that other people are going out of their way to do so. If they're not like bothering you and they're just miserable in their own little bubble, like that's fine. Especially if they're not bothering other people, like that's okay. They could just do their own thing, and if it's not affecting anybody, like no harm, no foul. Like I'm not worried about you. You're doing your thing. I'm doing mine. Um, but then once it escalates into pushing that off on other people, like you were saying, when it gets to a point that you're being rude for no reason, or you're being harsh. And manners aren't a huge thing. Like some people don't say please, some people don't say thank you, but they come off like pretty calm and collected, and it's not a huge deal. Like no biggie. But once it starts getting volatile, or people start getting loud for no reason, it's like they're almost yelling.
Yeah.
And like I was saying before, that word entitled comes into play a lot. I feel like these people are just like, I'm the best. I'm coming in here for my food and giving you my money. So you're going to make it as quickly as you can, as fast as you can and get it out to me. You're not going to say anything else. I'm going to get my food exactly the way I want it. It's all these like demands in their head going in. And I don't know. I feel like you were saying, these people, they just don't think, on a normal level. They are just in their own world most of the time. They're
Yeah.
too busy. They're too busy with with nothing. They're too busy with nothing to worry about anything else. And that's like the funniest part about it, is if they just took a couple minutes more of time to smell the roses, just everything would be okay. You don't have to be a miserable sap about everything. You could just let it breeze. Let it breathe and be easy about it.
Yeah. It's like, and it's not only that too. It's like, just, well, you kind of wrapped up on all of the major points on that. So I'm not gonna beat the dead horse. But yes, it's just like, just give the respect that people deserve unless they do otherwise, and still give the respect, but handle it how you need to handle it. Each person has their own way of handling things like that, but give respect where it's due. Um, do your oh my god, do your
Due
due
diligence.
diligence. Give your due diligence. That would be a better way to say it. Just be respectful. Like it bothers me. Um, when someone's just outright mean to a worker, that's just there to do their job, and it's like, if you're miserable at work, well, they are too, because
Yeah, 100%.
some people do enjoy those jobs, and to those out there, thank you very much for doing those jobs, because I'm sure you deal with a lot of crap. Um, but obviously there's some people that hate it, and I can understand why they hate it.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's the thing. You're preparing other people's food, Like if you're going to go in there and be rude, you should expect to be treated poorly. Your food might get spin or something like that. They're going to take longer to make your stuff because you're being such an a-hole, in short form.
yeah, like they're just gonna treat you like garbage if you're treating them like garbage. I mean, why should
Inevitable.
you know? They always say, "Oh, the customer's always right, so you have to listen to me." Like, no, like the customer isn't always right, because the customer that states that is the one that is completely in the wrong.
Right. Right.
But enough of that. What's the next pet peeve you got?
I mean, that was a good one. That's one of those ones that I don't think about often, but it's a very good point, because there are a lot of people out there that just simply don't give a damn. But I guess another good one. What is another good one? That's a toughie. Like a pet peeve of mine. I mean, besides like the organizational thing, like that's whatever. Um, a pet peeve. So like for example, this goes for anybody. I'm not trying to single out anyone specifically, but if you're like having a conversation via like text, or you had called someone and you're trying to like go back and forth about something that you've been planning, or you're trying to link up for a dinner, um, or I don't know, you just are trying to get together for golf. Golf is a big one, because I'm always planning stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um, you're trying to text, trying to figure stuff out, and then they're just taking ages to respond. And sometimes, age is only a handful of hours. Sometimes it ends up being days, and that's when things get, or it's just like, oh,
Dude, you have no idea. I didn't even think of this one. You have no idea. The pain and suffering that's I love them to death. My friends, some of my friends are just so damn slow at responding. And
I
I
will
just
say,
want
shout
to
out to all the friends out there that respond back very quickly. One person that I can think of in mind that comes to mind, the immediate time that I think about it, is Caleb. Caleb always answers me, and I'm pretty good about answering him pretty immediately. But he's the one buddy that I've had since the beginning that we met each other that he is a incredibly fast texter when it comes to like responding back about things. Sometimes phone calls too, but like we don't need to call as much because he responds to text so fast. That's how incredible it is. Um, but like that's the thing. Like in thinking about other people compared to who I think are fast responders, it's light years apart. I'm still like expanding the times that are inseparated. Like
Dude,
it's
I,
nuts.
I I have messages right now that haven't been answered. And it's been weeks. It's been weeks, dude. Not even days. Weeks.
Yes, sir.
You know who you are.
Shout out.
I'm not even gonna say his name. He knows exactly who he
No,
is.
it's okay. Don't. They if they ever come and watch this episode, that would be hilarious. But no, it's true that pet peeve exists for more than I'm sure just me and Ian. And that's the thing that's funny about that is because it doesn't even have to be like family members or friends. It could be, people that you just have met at work that you're trying to plan stuff to go out with and like you are normally texting them like no problem. But then every now and again it's just like flaky or they forget or they become that person who you guys have a falling out or whatever, and then you try to start linking back up, giving them a chance, and then bam, they start doing that. Like it gets nuts because sometimes people will like flip flop, and then it'll be like, oh, actually, I text better on Snapchat, and then you go and try it on Snapchat, and then that was a
Dude, it
fluke.
never works. Never
Or it's like,
works.
oh man, actually, I'm only usually ever like DMing through like Instagram or something, and I'm like, what?
I'm only ever DMing through DoorDash, so just let me know.
Yeah.
Hit me up over there. Or you know what? Hit me up on X. That's a good spot. We
In my chat box on X. Perfect.
You know what? Hit me up on Amazon Prime. That'd be great. That's probably the best place you can
Yo,
you
buy
can, you can reach
buy
me.
something. Yeah, buy something from Amazon. Respond back to them, and then I'll put a feedback on your comment. It's just like
Yeah, leave a review on a product I sold 8 months ago, and then that'll probably be the quickest way to get a hold of me. Nah, I
it's
mean
funny
like,
because we can make fun of it all in this manner, but it is still true. True is to the fact that the people who just let go of messages and just send them into the void. Like I know people who have thousands of notifications in their little message inbox pop up, and I'm the type of person to like clear my notifications and stuff. Like some I'll leave because they're apps I either don't open, or they're notifications that won't go away. I do have a glitch with a couple of apps on that. But as far as like the big ones I use, my email folders, my message folders, and then like my app store. I'm always updating or checking and deleting messages or going through emails frequently. So it's one of those things where I could never have thousands of just unread or unseen notifications just floating in the void.
dog. My phone is clean. I have maybe a few notifications that I will get to in the next like 2 hours.
Yeah,
And as for like messages, like text messages or like emails or anything of that nature, like importance to me, where it's like,
sure.
okay, someone's contacting me, I got to reach back to them. Those are like answered immediately. Like I'm constantly, like I check my phone to see if anyone's trying to get a hold of me.
Right.
Also for my job as well. Um, but like I always text back, and it's like, okay, if I can't message back right now, I gotta remember, like after I'm finished doing whatever I'm doing, come back to it, read through it, and but that's where I slip up sometimes. I'll forget, and it's like, oh crap, I gotta, like 4 hours later I'll be like, oh crap, I never messaged them back.
But at
Because
least
like
you're, all knowing. You like are in the awareness that you forgot to do that, and like you're actually worried about it. Other people just
yeah,
there's no worry involved. Just drops off the
I
boat.
there's one person that that had over like 10,000 unread messages, and I think you know who she is, Zach. You know exactly who she is.
Whoa! Yeah, I guess I do now. That's crazy.
Yeah, you know who she is. I think she's even shown you like the notifications as well. So she knows who she is. I'm not calling her out. I'm not putting her on blast like that, but she knows it's bad. Let's just say that.
That's
I think
professional level.
that she's reduced it much lower than that now, but like she still reaches the 1,000 every now and again. It's like, oh my. But she's explained that it's like group chats and stuff blowing up that
Classic.
she doesn't want to be in, and she keeps getting pulled back into. But I think I got one other pet peeve, and it's gonna have to be. I had a pet peeve, and now I'm forgetting it.
Oh,
I
you're
literally
blowing.
had it at the start of the. You really messed me up there, Zach. You got me heated with that one.
That's a good one, dude. That's a great
Yeah,
one.
that was a really good one. Um, man, what's a good pet peeve? I just had it. I really just had it, and now I'm completely blanking on it. I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve. This is kind of a quick one. I'll just say this, and it's like it's always like say you hit up your buddy about like going to hang out with him, right?
Yep.
Like, and it's like, okay, just let me know when I can come over. I always say that. Let me know when I can come over. And so then, you're waiting around for that text message to pop up and say
Oh,
like,
sure.
yo, come on over. And then they never text you that, and then you hit them up and it's like, oh, you don't have to tell me when, like, you're coming over, just come over. And it's like, no, dog, because whenever I do come over and I don't tell you, you're not going to be home. You're going to be out 5 hours away, and you'll be like, oh, dude, I'm not home right now, like I'm going to be back in like 8 hours. And it's that bothers me, is like when you're trying to hang out with someone. I guess that kind of feeds into like them not responding, but like this is like a specific
It's like a
thing.
branch. Yeah, it's like a branch of
Yeah.
the text response time.
And it's like they always say like, well, we don't need to text you for you to come over, just come over whenever. And it's like, no, dog, because you're not going to be home, or no one's going to be around. And I'm not just showing up unannounced. Like, I'm going to let you know I'm pulling up. So
Yeah, I
it's
was
like,
gonna
and
say,
then
be home for
like,
the vibe. If I pull up, we'll vibe together. Like if you're out and
yeah,
about, like let me know that you're out and about. Because like unless you want to go out and about with me, then I'll pick you up or you pick me up, whatever. Different story. But going to hang out and like trying to link up with somebody to hang, or even just whatever, trying to go stop by to drop something off. Like that's another thing too. I've had to drop things off in the past. It's like, hey, just let me know when you're gonna be home so I can come
excuse me.
by and we could shoot the shit or whatever, or just at least I could drop it with someone and not leave it around on your porch to be stolen or whatnot. And it's just like end up hunting people down to give them their stuff, and it's just like, this is your package. I know you want this.
You bought this, dude. This is yours.
It's like, I borrowed this from you. Why don't you want it back? It's just like, so it couples into like having to hang out with people that are just like, yeah, just whenever. And it's just like, all right, you show up. It'll be like middle of the day, noon on a Saturday, expecting nobody's really gonna be out doing something unless they tell you. But if you've been trying to link
Yeah,
all week, you show up. Ends up that they're, I don't know, like 8 blocks away at the YMCA at the pool or something like that. It was like, oh yeah, we just left a half hour before you came by, and it was like, that's why I said text me.
dude, exactly. It's always the weirdest thing too. It's like you'll like text them like, yo, and if you do follow their directions, be like, yo, I'm pulling up. They'll be like,
Yeah.
oh no, man, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm about 6 hours away. I'm in the middle of the ocean right now on a cruise ship. Like, I won't be back for the next 3 months.
I'm gonna dock
So you're
I'm gonna dock in 4 hours. I'll be back soon.
or yeah, like yo, I went out rollerblading with my buddies, and like I twisted my ankle, so I'm in the hospital right. I won't be home for like the next 4 to 8 hours. It's like, okay, whatever, go do your thing. I'll just let me know when you get back, and then they
I
never
like
let
the
me know when they
specific
get back.
branch though. Like that pet peeve definitely does exist. It doesn't happen all too often, but it usually just starts popping up when you try to be the responsible plan maker. That's usually how it goes.
It's tough. It's tough, dude. Like I just like I'm a planner. Like I mean
Yeah.
I'm a planner and I'm not a planner. Like it's like okay, just hit me up if you want to hang out. Like you can come over, we'll just do whatever. Like we'll figure it out when you get here. But like to the sense of like okay, you're coming over at like 4. Like okay, I'll
Yeah.
be ready by 4. Or like, we plan the day before. 5 o'clock we're meeting up. And it's like, okay, if 4:45 rolls around and I'm like, okay, like what's good? Then they don't reply.
Yeah.
So
Classic.
same
Classic.
thing. It's I guess it really just adds into it all. But yeah, that specific route is definitely a big pet peeve.
It's just one of those things, man. I mean, we're never gonna be able to combat it. It's funny we could talk about it, and people will throw in their pet peeves and stuff, and they'll have a totally different list. It's just like I'm an unorganized person, and I hate when people do my laundry for me. And it's just like, man. No, that's a bad example. I'm sure people love when they get their laundry clean, but it's one of those things where that's another decent pet peeve where it's like, um, for me, it's not anything about having to do with kids. It's like if I had kids, it would be like, man, they're not picking up after themselves. Like, why aren't they doing their own laundry? Blah blah blah. But sometimes it's just like when I used to live with other people, um, leaving their laundry in places that wasn't like a laundry basket. It was like they'd have clothes hanging out on the couch, or they'd leave like random stuff like outside their bedroom door, or I don't know, like sometimes in the kitchen even randomly, which was like odd, but to each their own. Whatever, doing a wash in the kitchen. Who knows? Kitchen sink is just as good as a washing machine, I guess. But that's the thing, like having laundry thrown out and about. Like I get it. I don't do laundry every day of the week. I'm not coming at people like that. I got a hamper. I throw stuff in there for sometimes 2 weeks. I think I've gone 2.5, 3 weeks maybe before. I don't think I've ever gone a month. That's a long time. But another big pet peeve, just laundry build up everywhere, just thrown around. It
Yeah,
gets hectic.
I definitely agree. Like I mean, I got my hamper. That's where my clothes go. I don't throw anything
Yeah,
on my floor unless like my hamper's like at the laundry machine. I'll just put my clothes where my hamper goes.
right.
Um, but like to add on to that, like I used to do this a lot, and thankfully I'm a changed man. Um, Leaving my stuff in like the washer or dryer is like
Oh
a
yeah.
big pet peeve that I have now. Now that I actually have corrected my own mistake. Um, because like I've lived with roommates now for a while, and now that I'm here in Nantucket, it's like I live in a house with one, two, three, four, anywhere between 4 to 8. They my roommates
Yeah.
have significant others and such, and so they do laundry as well. It's never been like a huge issue here. It's just trying to find time to get in there, but then sometimes people leave their stuff in the dryer. I haven't experienced too much yet, but in past things, it's like people leave their stuff in the wash or the dryer, and it's like, dog, don't leave your stuff in the wash. That stuff's gonna get moldy.
It's gonna be bad.
Ugh. Like if you leave your stuff in the dryer, that's fine. It's just I don't care. I'll just pull it out. Like if I'm cool with you like that, I'm not gonna do it here. Um, but like I'll pull it out for you. I'll put it up on top of the dryer, and like you can just come and get it at the end of the day, or I'll like if I'm nice enough, I'll bring it to your room or something.
Ooh,
Um,
wow, what a nice
put
guy.
it yeah, put it on their bed or something. Just like handle it, but um, like it's just and then see that's the thing though. I'll put it up on the dryer, and then they'll never come and get it. And it'll sit there for the next 5 days.
Classic.
Um, so it's a win lose battle right there, dude. You just can't. Some people are
You
better
gotta
than
you gotta
others.
pick the battles you want to fight, and that's how it goes. And I know we're about wrapped up here, but that is the pet peeve vibe. It's one of those things where you can only control so much, and being able to control what you can is the best that you can do to battle a pet peeve. And of course, wince, sigh, moan, hurl something at a wall, whatever you can do to grit your teeth at the thought of a pet peeve. Got to do what you got to do.
Just here's a good tip. This is what McLean taught me. Shout out McLean. Love that man. If you're listening, McLean, we both love you so much. I miss you, man. I hope you're doing well. Well, I know you're doing well, but like I hope you're still alive.
Beast mode.
Straight up G mechanic. But McLean taught me this nice technique you can do. Are you ready for it? So you just hold your breath and then force all the blood into your face as hard as you can. So you ready for it? Whew. And you'll feel like a nice lightheaded feeling that almost makes you pass out.
What?
The funny thing is, and we'll have to have McLean on as a guest at some point and have him explain the actual story, but he did that so hard one time at this restaurant, EBC, Ellicott Brewing Company over in Fredonia. Great restaurant, and great beer, good selection. But he did that in there. It was like trivia night or something, and he did it like as a joke because he just kept doing it as a joke, and he actually passed out for like a good 30 seconds.
Holy cow!
So please don't actually do that. Don't.
Yes, don't.
But yeah, shout out McLean. I love you, man. I miss you. But on
Thanks,
that note,
everybody, for listening.
yeah, I think we could wrap that up. So thank you all guys. Yeah, thank you all guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed the pet peeves. If you got any pet peeves yourself, let us know, because we'd love to hear them. I'm sure there's like 28,000 more we can actually think about and go into, but let us know if you agree with ours. And as per usual, if you're listening on YouTube, check us out on Spotify. Give us a follow over there. If you're listening on Spotify, check us out on YouTube. Give us a subscribe there. And as always, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll catch you guys on the flippy flop. So until next time, peace.